Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hi everyone, how are you? So today I want to talk about interviews. I have a whole interview series. If you guys have been listening for a while, if you're new here, go back and search, and it's called Let's Get You Those Offers. There's 3 parts and we go into detail about different things, mindset, strategy, all the things. But today I want to break down 3 simple habits that I need some of you to stop doing and some of you to start doing. In essence, we need to do both. We need to stop doing certain things and start doing other things. Lately, I've been talking about interviews a lot because I know how much it means to someone when they get great at interviews and are able to land the jobs that they want, especially during a career change, like moving into a new industry or even upgrading so that you can get paid a lot more money. I know how much interviews help in that process. I know how much interviews make the entire process easier and take a lot of stress off of the job search process, the career change process. Like, being good at interviews is game changing for a lot of people. And something I've heard recently is people say to me, yeah, but I'm good at the job, even if I'm not good at interviews. But how will they know? And the first thing that comes to my mind when I say that is, that sound, nobody's going to know. It's exactly that. If you can't communicate that you're going to be good at the job, you'll never get the opportunity to sit in the room and actually show these people how great you'd be in the job. So getting in the door into the interview, having the great CV, that's one thing. But once you're in the room, you have to be good at the interview to be able to convert. A lot of people struggle to get the money they want. It's because they're not able to interview at the level for the money that they're asking for. They're not able to show that person, I am worth every penny I'm asking for. Remember, an interview is where you sell potential. They don't know you. So unless you can show them your potential, unless you can show them how great you're going to be, unless you can give them some sort of evidence or some sort of feeling that you'd be great in the job, they're never going to hire you. So they're never going to know. But there's good news. Anything you're not good at, you can get better at. It's as simple as that. Instead of saying I'm not good at interviews, I'm working on getting better. I'm working on being great. You can always switch a thought. You can always move your mindset. So let's start working on being great at interviews so that they can find out how great you are at your job. Listen, good interviews mean it's easier and faster offers. Like, literally, good interviews mean easier and faster offers and better money. Because when you're really that candidate, like you're that girl, being in demand becomes your norm. And negotiating isn't as hard. I know a lot of you hate negotiating. If you want to negotiate less, get better at interviews. I promise you, it makes it easier to ask for the money you want. They already think you're great if you're good at interviews. So they're like, oh my gosh, we have to have this person. So then when you start asking for a little bit more money, they're kind of like, well, we really want this person. So let's give them the money they want. You see, it goes hand in hand. So either we need to get really good at negotiating or good at interviews. And to be honest, you need both. They go hand in hand, because there's no point in being good at negotiating but rubbish at your interviews, because no one's going to negotiate with someone who they're not even going to offer the job to. Let's be clear. So I'm going to start off with the 3 things I need you to stop, because we're always going to end on a high note. So we're going to start on the, a little bit of the low, what I need you to stop, and then move into what I need you to actually get to. So the first thing I need you to stop is listing all your skills. No one cares. Because you're not giving context to those skills. You're just saying, oh, I'm hardworking, I'm organized, I'm a great communicator, I'm analytical. Like, you're listing all these skills. That's a very junior way of working. That's a very junior way of speaking. Just being able to list a bunch of random skills. What does that mean? Yes, I know those skills were in the job description. And you were like, right, they're in the job description. This is what they want. So I'm going to tell them this is what I have. Where's your evidence? How are you backing it up? What's the context? Can you tell stories that show that you're a good problem solver? Can you show results that show your communication is helpful to a business? What is the context of those skills? How will those skills help them? So I want you to start thinking about, yes, these are all the great skills I have. I want you to know your skills. I want you to know your strengths. We need to know them because you can't sell something if you don't know it. So yeah, what are you good at? What are your strengths? But the way you know they're your strengths, the way you know they're your skills is because they're helping you to produce a result. They're helping you to give your company an outcome. They're helping you with your colleagues, your boss, whoever it is. So get clear on that and then explain like what makes you hardworking. Can you showcase your hardworking without just saying I'm hardworking? What else? Can you showcase you're a problem solver or a critical thinker without just saying I'm a good critical thinker? Like what? Where's the context? Why does it matter? Why does it matter to them and can you explain it? Number 2, stop answering questions without explaining how they benefit the company. And this kind of connects straight back to number 1. Give some context, especially in a career change. Listen, I know you're probably thinking, but if I say this, they should be able to understand what I'm talking about, or they should know how it connects to their job. No, that's your job. Don't make the interviewer work and be like, okay, so what will that help us with? Like, don't let them work. It's your job to connect the dots. You guys know I say it all the time, connection. Confidence, communication, connection. They are the 3 things that I teach in my coaching program. Can you connect your interview answers to the benefits for that company? How is the role you're going to benefit from the answer that you're giving? So when you're giving an answer, I need you to close the loop. I need you to think about, right, they've asked me a question. I've answered the question, but have I explained why that matters to them and how it benefits them? Have I explained that, me leading projects in the past has generated X, Y, Z, and I can do that for you by, and then connect it to their job description? Have you explained how you can benefit a company? And we can all benefit a company. Every single one of us. We all are employed to do something for a company. They're not just employing us out of the goodness of their heart. It's not a charity. They're not just doing it like, I feel sorry for her, let's give her a job. Absolutely not. They need something. You're giving them that thing. Can you explain that? When you're changing careers, you need to connect the dots even more. You need to really show them, I've got this skill set and this is transferable and this is how it will help you. What do they need help with? Do they need help increasing sales? How has your answer shown them that you'll be able to do that? Think about it like that. Do they need help running a project? How is your answer showing them that you can manage people, manage budgets, manage a project? Answer questions with an explanation of how it will benefit the role you've applied to. Number 3, stop asking for really high salaries when your interview delivery is poor. Your interview has to match your ask. Listen, I am one of the girlies who will always say to you, try your luck. Yeah? I'm just that type of career girly. You should always just try your luck. It's a yes or a no. The worst you're going to get is a no. Nothing changes if you ask and then you get a no. But if you get a yes, great. So I'm one for trying your luck. Always ask for the higher salary. But I need you to understand how much of a cheek it sounds to the recruiter. I'm the recruiter. To the HR manager. Me, the ex-HR manager. Do you know how much of a cheek it is when someone is not good at interview? They barely answered the questions. They were really vague. They didn't explain to me how they were going to be really good in the job and bring the company results. They didn't even understand, in essence, what the role is about or what we need at the company. Like, they weren't able to show me that they knew that in the interview, and then they got the cheek to ask for the highest end of the budget. How are you asking for the highest end of the budget where you haven't even shown me that you can do the basics of the job? And that's what it comes down to. If you cannot show me how you will be good in the job, how you will make my company money, sorry guys, how you will create the big profits, how you will lead the teams and push the teams forward, how you will keep my company compliant. If you haven't shown all these things, how are you asking for the highest end of the budget? What am I paying for? Because that's what it comes down to. I know a lot of you have gone shopping, been in the shop and been like, why does that cost so much? What am I paying for? I'm not even getting anything for my money. It's not worth it. And let's not confuse that with scarcity. I'm not confusing that with like, oh, money mindset things. I'm talking about when something genuinely isn't worth it. Your interview is your only time to shine. Yes, you might know you're good at your job, but the people who are interviewing you don't, unless it's an internal interview. External companies, new industries, they don't know why you're good at the job. And especially if you're going into a new industry, they need you to connect the dots. Why is what you have, which is not the direct experience that they were asking for, going to be beneficial to them? If you have gotten into the room and they are willing to interview you, they already saw something on paper that they were interested in. You need to now translate that in the interview. You need to show them evidence and proof that they were right bringing you in for interview. But asking for that big price tag, having that big price tag and not being able to back it up in an interview, it's a cheek. I don't care what anyone says, argue with someone else, it is a cheek. However, do not confuse this with undervaluing yourself, because some of you actually need to ask for higher money. You're actually very good at interviews. And so I don't want to confuse this. I don't want those of you that are already doubting yourself to be like, oh no, I'm asking for too much money. When actually, no, you're not asking for too much money. Some of you are very good. And the way you're going to know if you're very good at interviews is if you are doing the next 3 things that I'm about to talk about. Because if you're doing those 3 things that I'm about to talk about, you can ignore all this other stuff that I've just been speaking about because you're already on the right track. And actually, you're probably the person who needs to ask for more. So ask away. You're probably the person who is worth 90K but is asking for 60 because you undervalue yourself. But anyway, let's get into the 3 things I need you to start doing immediately, especially if you're going through interviews right now. Be clear on the profit you made your company or the money you saved them and the role you directly played in that. I want you to be able to explain how much money have you made a company in the last quarter, in the last year, in the last 6 months, in the last 2 years. The numbers matter. Even for where you are now, even if you're not changing industry, do you know your numbers? Because when you go for that next pay rise, knowing your numbers is going to be able to help you to ask for way more than that silly little 2-3% they try to give us annually. That little raise they give you that you haven't even realized is actually in line with minimum wage rise. National minimum wage goes up every year. That's why they give you the pay rise every year. It's just in line with what the government's kind of telling them they need to do. Even if you're on more than minimum wage, I'm not saying you're on minimum wage. What I'm saying though is because the minimum wage goes up, if they don't put your salary up, you would be too close to earning what someone on minimum wage is on. So because they don't want you to think, oh, well, I'm basically earning just a little bit more than minimum wage, they up your salary the same amount. That's not really a pay rise, guys. That's normal. Like, that's the economy. The economy is moving up. The government said pay people more. They pay you a little tiny bit more. They pay you the bare minimum more. No. We want to be negotiating bigger money. We want to be saying, I make you this much profit. I need some of that back in return if you want me to keep helping you make profit. So do you understand what you're doing for your company? Doesn't matter what role you're in. Every role feeds profit. Corporate companies care about money. Let's be real. Even small bespoke companies care about money. They have to make money to be able to pay you. They have to make money to be able to pay themselves. Companies care about money. We live in a capitalist world. We need to be creating parts of the system, and a part of the system is making money. Profits are king. If you can speak about how you can make a company profit, that is the quickest way, firstly, into the job, because why would they not want someone who's going to help them make more money? So do you know how you influence the money? Do you know your part in the whole cycle? And I know some of you listening are saying, oh, my job isn't like directly linked to making money. My job is I'm an administrator, I'm in IT. All of you help the company make money. Administrators keep everyone organized, everything running smoothly. If the company is not running smoothly, money cannot be made because people are running around trying to firefight. IT does the exact same thing. Infrastructure, no company runs without IT. No company runs without security, software, all these things. IT is integral. You help that company make money. So find out how much profit has your company made as a whole, and then work backwards. How much has your team made and influenced that? And then what part of the team are you that influences it? Because it matters about you. I don't want you walking into interviews talking about, oh, my team made. No. You can say, my team made this. I impacted that through XYZ. How did you impact it directly? Listen, an engine cannot run without every single piece. If you have a car and you take out one part, the whole engine stops working. You can't take out 2, 3 parts and then the engine's still going to go. That's how I want you to think about yourself. It doesn't matter what role you play. If you are removed, some part of the process stops working. That's how important you are. Every cog, every tiny little part of an engine is important. Even the tiniest pin holds something together. That is who you are. And for anyone who's in an industry where they think, I don't make money or profit, teachers, for instance, I spoke about this recently. Listen, especially if you are in the UK, this is UK based, and this goes for every other country, but I don't know what your systems are. Here in the UK, Ofsted ratings are your currency as a teacher. How are you impacting the Ofsted rating? How many of the kids you directly teach are above the national average when it comes to their grades? Ofsted ratings are your currency. Grades are your currency. That's your money in your industry. Every industry has profit, even if it is not money terms. And saving money is just important as making money. I want to be really clear on this. I never used to understand any of this, guys. So I want you to know anything you don't know, you can learn and get better at. These are the things that transformed my career. I remember when I was working in my human resources role. And before that, I was actually doing recruitment for them before I went into HR manager. And when I was doing recruitment, I remember the CEO coming and saying, Adele, this year you have saved us 1.3 million on agency. We haven't spent that on agency this year. Last year, we spent that much on agency. This year, we spent nothing on agency because you've reduced our agency bill by 1.3 million. They gave me an award and everything. At the time, I didn't really understand the gravity, but I knew it was important enough that I started putting it on my CV. And that started changing things for me. It started opening doors for me that weren't open before. It started giving me access to bigger roles, better roles in better companies with more money, bigger salaries, because I was able to say, I saved my last company 1.3 million in agency costs. Do you know what you're saving your company? Because you might not be making the money, but by saving the money, you made the money. Because they didn't have that loss. They didn't have that expense anymore. You've now saved them money that they can use for other things, including giving you a pay rise. So I want you to understand that part is so important. I talk to my clients about this all the time. I'm always telling my clients, where have you saved them money? Even improving processes, if you help make a process faster, better, you have saved them some sort of money. If you help them identify, like, they don't need as many people on the team, and I know a lot of you are like, Adele, don't teach people this because then they're going to streamline companies. Companies are always looking to streamline. Me talking about this isn't going to change that. But that is how they are saving money. They've got less people working, but still putting out the same amount of work. So how are you personally saving your company money? And let's move on to number 2. Communication. I want you to start communicating who you've trained or upskilled and what impact that has had on the team and the business. Who are you training? We are all training people. It doesn't matter if you have the manager title or not. And if you have the manager title, you better be talking about who you've trained, who you've upskilled. Because when you train people and when you upskill them, guess what happens? Profits increase. Again, another way that you're helping a company make money. And I know you're seeing a theme right now, but again, corporate companies care about their bottom line. That's it. They care about their bottom line. They care about what's coming in and what's going out. If you're training people, if you're making people better at their job, that helps the company. Because now they don't just have good people, they have great people. And great people are more efficient. And great people are faster. That's the same as efficient. Great people know how to make things move in a way that supports the market, supports the industry. Great people understand market trends, so they understand when to do certain things and when not to do certain things. The better the team is, the better the outcome. I know you've heard you're only as good as the worst person on your team. That's the truth. So the more you can upskill someone, the better. So show off your leadership skills. Show off the skills that you have to motivate people. Listen, upskilling people includes motivating the team. If you can keep the team motivated and keep the team productive, I need you to be able to talk about that in your interview. I need you to be able to start communicating what it is that you do that is beneficial. Who are you training? Let's get really clear on that. Who are you upskilling? How are you supporting the team? Who are you in your team? What is the role you play in your team that impacts the business? And number 3, I need you to start talking about the processes that you've improved and efficiency and streamlining. I touched on it before, but what processes have you directly improved? Streamlining is always happening. Honestly, look at the world right now. There are so many layoffs, so many redundancies. But if you can show how you're the person who makes the system better, you're not going to be one of those people they're going to get rid of. If you're the person who makes the process more efficient, aka you increase productivity. If you're the person who keeps things compliant, you become an asset. If you're the one showing a company how to streamline, how to make a process better, and I don't mean streamlining as in getting rid of people, but how to make processes faster. If something takes 2 days and now you're able to make it take 6 hours, you've just streamlined a process. If a process used to be paper-based and now you've helped bring it online, you've created a process. One of the recent people I worked with, she worked for a company a while ago. The process she created back then is still being used to this day. How many of you have had that influence? I've created interview packs and interview processes for companies that till this day are still being used. They're things that I'm proud of, but also things that I know I can sell at interview, things that are going to help me get paid more, things that are going to help me open the door to jobs that I've always wanted to do, working for companies that I've always wanted to work for, being able to connect with people that are way smarter than me that I can learn from because I've now been offered a job in a huge company or a boutique company, like a small one-off company, but something that I know I want for my development. I'm able to open those doors because I can talk about how I've improved processes. If you're making a company more efficient, if you're making the people of a company more efficient, that benefits them. Being able to break down how, numbers, speaking about the amount of people, speaking about how it's changed something. So last month, for instance, we made this much, but this month we've made this much because I've helped upskill the team. And it's better to sometimes talk in quarters, not necessarily monthly, unless you can see the big drastic change in the month. If not, talk in quarters. In Q4 last year, I did XYZ. In Q1, that has meant we have increased XYZ. Do you see? How are you improving processes? Like I said, profits come in all different ways. Keeping a company compliant, keeping them up with all the legislation means they're not getting fines. That's it. You just save them some money. Being able to say, listen, because you're not getting fined, because I'm keeping you compliant, that's why you need me. Because I'm improving processes and I will continue to improve processes if you guys give me the job. Tell them evidence of when you've improved processes before and then how it's going to help them. Like I spoke about before, how is what you've done previously going to benefit the job you are currently interviewing for? If you have improved processes before, you're going to tell them that I'm going to come here and do that for you. You're going to let them know I'm really good at looking at a process and seeing where it can be streamlined so it can be more efficient, so that everyone can be more productive, more money can be made, more customers can be attracted, more customers can be retained. We can elevate your brand. When I talk about elevating the brand, like I mean giving your company a good reputation. If you're the person who's like, oh my gosh, everyone wants to come to your company and work with you because you're so good, you've now given them a great reputation. Talk about that in your interview. Who's not going to want to hire someone who can help their reputation, who can help their brand? Remember, look at the job description first and see exactly what they need and want. And then show them how you are exactly that. If a job description is a problem, you are the solution. The way you show you're the solution is showing how you are the thing they're looking for. If they're looking for someone who can manage teams or manage a project and increase revenue, that's who you are. If they're looking for someone who's great at communicating with customers and can attract new customers, then you need to explain how that's who you are. How are you the person they are looking for? On paper, how are you the person that can connect to that job? Your power of negotiation increases drastically the better you get at interviews. And also your power to say no increases. And what I mean by that is I have clients now who are being offered second and third interviews in brand new industries that they couldn't even get interviews in before. But they're turning them down because they're looking at the overall role and they're saying, I've assessed the role, I've assessed the company, I've been on an interview or two. And actually, I'm realizing this isn't a good fit. And even though it's a new industry, they're not in that desperate energy to be like, oh my gosh, I need to just accept it because I'm lucky that they're offering it to me. Because they're not worried about not booking another interview. They're not worried about not getting offers because they have really become that confident at their interview skills that they're like, nah, if it's not going to work for me, why am I taking the job, Adele? Sometimes I'm even shocked because I'm like, what? 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, you was not this person. You was the person who was like, I'll do anything to get into that new industry. Now you're the person telling me, nah, this job doesn't work, Adele. But you also are the person who's that confident at your interview skills that you know you can smash an interview. And that's what I mean by the power of no. You'll be able to say no to certain offers that maybe you'll say yes to that aren't exactly what you want because you're like, something's better than nothing and I don't get that many offers. What if you could change that? What if you can start getting more offers just by doing the 3 things I just said? So in total, there are 6 things, 3 that you need to stop and 3 that you need to start immediately. If you are already doing the 3 things I spoke about and you're still struggling to get the offers, you're still struggling to negotiate money, it is probably the energy behind what you're doing, the confidence, the self-belief. And again, anything that is not working, you can work on it and get better at it. That's what my program, Create Your Own Lane, is all about. It's taking what you currently have, who you currently are, the skills, the characteristics, the experience, and making it the career you want it to be, making it the money you want to be, having the power to feel like I can say no to this. I can turn down these things. I don't have to jump through all these hoops. Even in your current job, I don't have to say yes to all this extra responsibility when I know that I'm super underpaid. I don't have to be burnt out, feeling sick, going in when I'm feeling sick because I feel like I'm not good enough. That's what coaching's all about. Coaching is to support you feel great about yourself, understand the techniques and tools you can use to help elevate yourself in your career, and then show you how you can negotiate and secure the bigger salaries. That's what career coaching is about. If you need support with any area of your career, when it comes to your CV, your interview skills, your negotiation power, your confidence, the way you communicate your skills in a new industry, reach out, book a call with me. Create Your Own Lane might be exactly what you need to help you get exactly what you want. And remember, if you only have one area that you struggle with, if you just struggle with interviews, you can book them. Like, you are the person who knows how to do the CV and you're getting the interviews, but you're just not turning those interviews into offers. You're not getting the second interview. You're not getting the third interview. Maybe you just need a strategy session. My career strategy sessions will get you together. We will spend 90 minutes together going over how you communicate what you have with what a company wants. We will then have 2 weeks of follow-up Voxer support. So while you're going through your interviews, I can help you. I can be in your pocket. I can say, listen, this is where you went wrong. This is where you need to change. We can do prep. We can talk through what the job is, look at the job description and go from there. Also, as a bonus, with any strategy session, if you do a career strategy session, you get the additional CV. There are 2 options. Head over to my website, ATM Rich, and have a look. I hope this episode has helped you. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, share it with someone else who might enjoy it. Rate it if you're listening on whatever platform you're listening on. Give me a rating if you're enjoying the podcast. Also, reach out to me on Instagram. If you want to find more about my coaching program, go to the website or just DM me and we can have a chat. Anyway, I will speak to you in the next episode.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening and see you next time.